Hello there and welcome. My name is Adelere Adesina, and today I want to show you how to align yourself with your greatest ally ever as an executive. Now, whether you're an aspiring executive or you're already an executive and you just want to expand into greater and further potentialities, or maybe you're an executive and you're having to go through some difficult positions and you're really looking for a solution, a way out that you can rely on, bank on, and that would deliver effectively. This particular ally I want to show you today is the ally you must work with in order to have the results that you want. But before I show you what your greatest ally is, let me tell you something about allies, something you probably already know. In fact, something I would expect that you already know. So we just, having a common ground to have a common language we understand ourselves on. Now, an ally is someone who, has your back, or someone that you work with and that works with you to deliver a certain objective. The more powerful your allies are, the stronger you are. This is a rule that has been in effect from all ages. All ages. Read any story of any king who is successful in ruling his nation, successful in conquering the world, or successful in achieving any objective you want, even in peacetime. Not necessarily war times, but even in peace times, successful in making the economy and the commerce of the nation grow. He has powerful allies. That's just it. Powerful and loyal allies to himself. The stronger your ally, the more powerful you are. And by power here, we mean the ability to effect your results or effectiveness in achieving one's purpose. That's just power. You set up an objective, you say, I want to get to X, and then you actually reach X. Okay? That is power. And all the allies you have will determine whether you're really powerful or not. Now, of course, power combined with wisdom, and wisdom is something we'll be having a conversation with some other day, but power combined with wisdom leads to a certain and eventual result for yourself and for your organization. Whatever executive position you might be holding, when you have power and you combine it with wisdom, it leads to a win, win, and win in your organization. Now, not a zero-sum game, which is where someone has to lose something for someone else to win something. You might have played that game before, even as a powerful executive. Sometimes you might have find yourself having to make such a tough decision where someone has to lose for someone else to win. And then, you have to look for who's the highest stakeholder here who has to win, and then sacrifice the other one. And it's not because you're not a wonderful or good or great executive who's doing your best. In fact, it's because you're doing your best with the allies that you're currently working with. Well, put in other ways, with the extent of power that you're able to command. Now, when you find yourself able to command such allies, or able to have in your support, in your corner, such allies that can make a thing work, right, without having to sacrifice any other stakeholders' objectives. And you can ensure a certain win across all stakeholders, across all players. So let's say all the players and stakeholders involved with you are in this side. One side like this. You are on this side for your personal or professional objectives. They are on this side for their own personal or professional objectives. And then we also have the whole entity, because your entity, your organization, your department is a living being itself. You could be promoted to a higher position and someone else would come into the position you're in right now, right? So it's still going to continue to function, and you know that already. So you have the people and the stakeholders, you have you, and then you also have the entire entity, organism itself. And you're going to ensure a win across all the stakeholders, across all the parties. So you win, they win, and there's a win that is mutual, that is, long-lasting. But how do you make that happen? What's your greatest ally by which you make that happen? Your greatest ally, and I want you to pay close attention to this, your greatest ally is your inner conversations. You might have heard it in other words, such as attitude or such as inner talking or self-talk. Yes, by the way, attitude is literally inner conversations. And you may, as a great executive or as an aspiring executive, it might have been a part of your training in the past to learn to control your self-talk about yourself. So you speak positive things to yourself, you declare positive things into your life, you affirm positive things, and you dream yourself being positive, and that's great. But that is not, in fact, the highest way to align yourself with your greatest ally. We're not talking about just that. We're saying all your inner conversations, including your mental conversations with other people, including your mental conversations with, well, people you don't even think you know, but they're just in your mind anyway. Made up in your mind. You're just having conversations with them. This happens to all human beings everywhere, all the way. But the strange thing about executives, about you as an executive, is that you're not just any other human being. You have responsibilities. You've either been trained to handle these responsibilities, or if you're aspiring, then you're training yourself to be able to handle these responsibilities. You're stepping up every now and then. You also have to deliver. And lives are at stake. Objectives are at stake. Growths, developments, progresses. What happens to the next generation? What happens to the company? What happens to your department? They're all at stake, and they all depend on your own power. Well, coupled with wisdom, but first, your power. Your ability to effect any result you want in this world. Not the ones that you've deemed or termed realistic, and then you leave out the ones you don't think are realistic. And this happens a lot of times to a lot of people. They go, well, these are the realistic goals, let's go for these ones. These are not realistic, let's leave them out. And you know what happens later on? Someone else achieves the unrealistic one, and they wish they had had the insight to launch into that unrealistic goal and bring out the result. Well, better to achieve the results than to wonder what if I had done it, right? So your greatest ally is your mental conversation, your inner talking, and not just to yourself, but your inner talking to everyone. Now, in your leadership, and I want you to know why this is your greatest ally. Because when it comes to your leadership, we have decision making, we have strategy, we have planning, we have all sorts of things, organization, activity, actions, behavior, culture of the organization, and so on and so forth. But did you know that all these things are compelled from a person's inner conversations? Yes, especially one person's inner conversation is compelling everything that happens in the organization. Yours, you as an executive, you are literally deciding what people decide. You're determining it beforehand. They think they make the decisions, and yes, they have all the reasons, all the justifications, the perfect explanations to say this is why they make the decision. But you decided it by your mental conversations with them. I would give you a simple test to prove this, and I want you to even say, hey Adelere, you probably are just bluffing. I will disprove what you're saying. You're welcome to do that. I want you to take me on that challenge, but follow the instructions I'll be given in the test. Okay? Now, as a leader, you want to go to that part and lead from that part where, working with your greatest ally, you compel everything else. Whether others are deciding X, Y, or Z, whether they have A behavior or they have D behavior, whether they plan C or they plan B, or whether they're planning together with you, or well, maybe they have to plan their individual plans. Whatever they might be doing, that it still leads out to the result you want. This is, in other words, this is you having the highest control. It does mean you let go of the lower controls, as you must have known. As an executive, for example, being an executive, you're in a higher position. That's one of the things that means, is that you wouldn't at any day say, well, you want to take the position of this person who is lower than your position and try to fulfill their obligations and objectives. No, rather you're going to compel them or ask them to deliver. The same goes in this case. Being a leader, you have to, well, do something where you control the whole activity of the organization beyond the level of decision making, strategy doing, planning, and behavioral control, and penalties and rewards, beyond all of those things. And it's in the inner conversations. Why? Because our most original thoughts, this is the reason why it works. Our most original thoughts are determined by someone else's mental conversations with us. Most times. Most of the times. Most original ideas we think we have. Most original thoughts we think are ours were actually determined by someone else. Whether behavioral, whether in performance, whether in what is it called? Ethical codes, whether in attitude, in motivation, whether in planning, in strategy, in decision making. Our most original thoughts and our most original ideas were determined by someone else. So how do you work with this? Well, what do you do? How do you prove it? Or maybe disprove it and say, Adelere, I have proved or disproved what you've said. I want you to take a test for 3 days and then observe the result within 7 days. And this is going to be the test. You're not going to pick any person in particular. You're just going to decide on one thing. Just decide that you want someone to give you a certain remark that implies success or greatness or progress in your department, your organization, or in your activity, in your executive role. That's just it. Just make a decision. I want someone to give a remark that implies we've made progress. We've had success in an activity in this department or in this organization. Don't determine what the activity would be. Don't worry. When in Outlie Your Greatness, we would learn how to determine what the activity would be, or how to take an activity or take a goal in particular and achieve it. What we want to just do right now is to prove that we have a greatest ally in us, our inner talking. Then I'll show you how to work with it and Outlie Your Greatness. But for now, let's prove or disprove it. So simply decide, I want a certain, any progress, but a certain progress. And I want somebody, anybody but somebody, to tell me that there is progress, or we have the result, or we've made certain success today. That's it. So you're going to, in your mind, right, relax during your breakfast. You're going to, in the morning, just after your breakfast, wherever you're taking your breakfast. After your breakfast, you're going to relax right where you are before you stand up. And simply hear somebody. You don't have to do anything more than just gaze into the open space and hear somebody in your mind. Just know that this person who's speaking is speaking from your department or your organization. Look at the way I'm just gazing into the space right now. You can see that, right? That's how you gaze. You know, this person is in my organization, this person is in my department, and they're one of my subordinates or one of my colleagues. And you let them say a simple statement to you, and the statement they say is this: did you know that we've made progress on that project? Or did you know that we've made success on that project? And then you, in your mind, you respond to them with a certain sense of surprise, such as, oh really, that's wonderful. And just that's it. did you know that we've made success in this project? And they go, and you go, oh, really? That's it. All right. Just as you gaze into the space, just gaze it. People are passing by, or maybe it's just you in your private space where you have your lunch or where you have your breakfast, but you're gazing, and then you hear them say it. Anybody, you don't have to pick a particular person, no specific voice. Just make it something you hear. You know when you read novels, right? You read a Michael in a novel, and Michael is speaking in your mind as you read Michael speaking to Alice. But there is no Michael you've ever met before. It's a non-fiction. It's a fiction. Yet you have Michael speaking in your mind. You've never met Michael before, but Michael is speaking in your mind. That's the same way you make it up. Just make up a voice. But this person is from your organization. And they're saying, did you know we've made success? And you go, oh, really? Then you repeat that for 3 days. Every day for 3 days at your breakfast. And for the rest of the day, don't try to do anything to make anyone make a certain success in any particular project. Not to say if you have any particular thing you're working on, you shouldn't work on it. No, that's not the point. The point here is that don't try to say, oh, now that I've heard it, so let me try and do something to make it happen. I want you to really learn that this is your greatest ally. And one of the things that means, like I've said earlier, is power. And power simply means that the objective becomes realized. And if you're having to work with this greatest ally, you'd have to let go of all of the things on the lower level. Just as being an executive right now, you have to let go of the role of your secretary, for example. You don't do that. Why? Because you have all the important tasks and responsibilities that are upon you to do. That's what you do. 3 days. And then after the 3rd day, just live on with your life. Don't try to do anything or think hard on it. Just live on. Continue with your roles as you've been doing. Carry on with your life as you've been doing. Do all the things you do day by day as you've been doing as a great and wonderful executive. And only in 7 days. As a matter of fact, before the first day is over, you might have that particular statement uttered back to you on a truly wonderful and incredible success that you're happy you've made in your department or your organization. And you'd realize that it's a win-win-win. I promise you to be a win-win-win. Every party involved, they all win. But you must follow that instruction. After breakfast, today, tomorrow morning, and the morning after that. After breakfast, if you don't take breakfast, well then do it after lunch. Okay, you would take one of those two, for sure. So you could be someone who doesn't take breakfast. I take late breakfast. But after breakfast or lunch, and then you simply sit down, gaze into the space, and hear it in your mind. Hear it again. If your mind wants to wander to 10 other things that are irrelevant, bring it back. Just hear it. Hear them say. It's a voice, but you just know this person is speaking from my department. That's all. They're speaking from my organization. And they're saying to me, did you know, maybe sir or ma, did you know, sir or madam, that we've made success in the project? And you hear that and you go, oh really? That's wonderful. Surprised in your mind. But you never say any of those things on your lips. It's all in your mind. It's you making up the conversation. And that's how you do it. Now once you've done it, and within 7 days you have the certain result, I have an offer for you. It's a simple offer. I'll show you how to have both the power working at the optimal level and the wisdom working at the optimal level to reach out for more than you've ever been. You're going to be on the frontier of your own potentials. You know, people work within their potentials, not at the edge of their potentials, but I'll put you at the edge of your potentials as an executive. You would outlie your greatness. working with me. But first, try and disprove what I've said right now. Just try and disprove that this is not your greatest ally. If it does achieve the objective without a single attempt to contribute to it from your own end, then you know you found an ally that can send on any task in this world. They can employ their services to any function in this world, and it will be done. And when it is done, there won't be one single stakeholder who has to lose for it. Not one person that you have to try to settle their complaint about it. Because it's going to be a win-win-win for everybody. But do the test I've given you right now. 3 days. You do that after breakfast or after lunch. And then drop it. Carry on with your life. Just be an executive the way you are. And see what happens. Within 7 days. This is something that could even happen literally within hours. Something you've been stuck on, they've been stuck on, or something they've been trying to work on for quite some time, or maybe it's something new but ingenious and wonderful. It would be wonderful at the end of the day. Then when it happens, you would know the next thing you want to do for yourself is to outlie your greatness. And I promise you, that's what I'll do with you. I'll make you balance yourself on the frontiers of your potentials as an executive. So, talk to you very soon. Share the story with me when it happens, because I know it does. Bye-bye.